This conference will now be recorded.
So thank you all for joining us today. Welcome to the webinar. My name is Ellen Mishra. I am one of the principal trainers and business analyst at Adaptive US. I have been performing this role for about 26 years now, for a very long time. So in one sense, I'm also a little dated, but I try to keep myself as updated as possible. I have been trying some new BA tools recently. So I'll talk about it and show you how we all can be better business analysts, grow ourselves, and also at the same time help our organizations grow. So big thank you. So I trust whatever names I spoke to, all of you want to become a better business analyst, which is a good sign. And I think business analysts are also change enablers. If you read BA Buck, you will hear this word positive change enabler. So we look forward to changing ourselves in a better way. We also look forward to changing our organizations in a better way. Just to give you a very simple thing that we have been trying at Adaptive, and I have been kind of looking for opportunities how we make Adaptive a lot more efficient. So for example, I'm just going to show you a very simple application that we built and how it is reducing the amount of work that we were doing before versus today. So a lot of these things are nothing you may not find spectacular, but I will give you how much time we are going to save by simple automations. So in the past, every week, students complete certifications. So we, as an agency, we help students to get certified. So obviously, people are getting certified every day, and we collect that data from a website. And then we populate that data on our website. So we used to manually update the data. Then we figured out that we anyway are tracking certified students through one simple means. So what we do is we send one email to one email ID, which is called certifications.adaptiveus@gmail.com. So whenever we get to know a student who has completed certification, one of us will send an email to this particular email ID. So this data is already residing in our email system. But this is the data that we need to publish and show it to our future students, saying, see, so many students have completed, you also can. When you see a good number of people completing it, it's going to give you confidence that it is something you can also do. So that's what we push it to our website. But when, without lack of automation and integration, so this was being updated manually. So one of our web developer will go ahead and update this data at 7 different pages. So one, we have an overall list. Then we have a list which is specific to the standard. Like some of you are senior business analysts, so you may be looking for CBAP. So this is the overall list. Then we have similarly 7 other lists, which I can show you. Okay, so this is again another list which is maintained. So all total, we are maintaining 7 lists. Now think for a minute and tell me how much time the web developer will take to copy this data manually every week, to populate it into 7 pages. Anyone can make a guess how much time it may take our web developer to do it?
Maybe 15 minutes.
In 15 minutes, you'll be able to update 7 pages.
2 hours.
No. Okay, I think maybe both are extreme ends. It's not going to take 2 hours, nor it's going to be 15 minutes. It's somewhere around 45 minutes to 1 hour.
Okay.
Because you have to collect the data from the email address, go ahead and populate this data. So all that you have to do. So even if we assume 30 minutes, 30 minutes is bare minimum time the web developer will spend in doing this work. And let's calculate a very simple number for the amount of money we have spent on this task. Suppose we assume that the designer will charge us $30 an hour. Okay. And there is an overhead cost on the company as well. Anything you do, there is always an overhead cost for the company because you have to verify, check things are okay. One second, I think there's somebody not muted. That's one problem with meeting platforms. I think you should use webinar platforms, which does not allow students to speak as easily as they can here. Anyway, so now this is the per hour cost that the designer is charging us, which is fairly low, I would say. It's not a very high cost thing, but we are also not looking at a very highly sophisticated one. So this is okay. Now, if you look at the company cost, it's going to be typically double. Some of you are business analysts, so you should know the difference between what you pay and what it actually costs you. Because a company has sales and sales function, it has administration, it has HR function, it has so many things which is taking care of everything that is running within the company. So in general, we would treat this as two times, $60 per hour. So now every week we are spending 0.5 hours. Okay. So when you multiply it over a year, which is 52 weeks, so you have spent 52 into 60. Okay. So you have spent close to $2,000. Rough and even if I don't take $2,000, it's definitely $1,500 worth of time has been lost because we don't have an integration. So we just did this integration last week, and now this work is eliminated, and the company is going to use the designer for better work, not do the manual work. So I was just trying to show you some examples where, as a business analyst, you keep thinking about every process that runs in the company. How do you make it more efficient? How do you make the information available to your salesperson? And say, for example, now because we have this data available to our salespeople, it's so easy for them. Anytime a new prospect comes, they just go and they tell, okay, look at this data. This data is as current as a couple of days back. So we are able to maintain the data at a very high frequency, at a very low cost. Now, because it's all automated, we don't have to touch the website. Okay, so imagine if you can spot opportunities like this, and there could be bigger opportunities as well for your company. You can save hundreds and thousands of dollars for your company, and obviously the company is going to reward you for the work that you are doing for the company. I don't want to spend time on Adaptive UX. I trust all of you know a little bit about us. If not, please visit our website. It's simple, www.adaptiveus.com. You will definitely get some details about us. Okay. So obviously, as I spoke to some of you, we all want to be good business analysts, become better business analysts over a period of time. And our aim would be to make significant impact on our organization, give our stakeholders better systems and processes. And obviously, that's what we are trying to do. And obviously, we also want to have better time for ourselves. That means if I can be productive in my work, I'm going to release time for my family. If I'm unproductive at work, my family time is also going to get affected.
Sorry to interrupt you here.
Sure.
Can you please go back to that Excel sheet? I want to know what was that 0.5? Is it per hour?
No. What we decided, we talked and we said the designer is going to take 30 minutes, which is half hour, in doing
Okay.
this task every week. That is why I took that 0.5 hours.
It is
Which
half
is
hour per week.
half hour per week. That is a very
Okay.
conservative estimate. It's not an
Mhm.
optimistic estimate. I think our developer takes a little bit more time. But even if you assume that the developer is really super smart, even then he or she is going to take half hour.
Okay. Thank you. Just wanted to confirm that.
Sure. Actually, this is one good way for you to show your value to your company. Okay, always, whenever you are doing any project, any process improvement, always think, how is this going to benefit my company? And the easier thing to calculate is to calculate the resource cost that is being used, which is typically a processor or an executive, whatever name you take. And the company cost is going to be typically double of what you pay that person, because a cost always has a direct component and an indirect component as well. As a business analyst, you need to become little bit cost accountant as well. Okay, back to our topic. So let's look at what is it that we are looking for in a good business analyst. Obviously, the first thing that you should know is to understand the business analysis process. Like, how do you go about conducting business analysis activities? Two, we are also looking at good behavioral skills, because business analyst is a very interactive role. It's not like you are a programmer sitting at your computer doing something, nobody else is interested in what you're doing. You're very technical in your nature. It's not like that. We interact with a whole lot of stakeholders, starting from our end users, project manager, product owner, testing team, so many people we are interacting, developers. So our behavioral skills matter quite a lot. Third thing, I think a lot of you have shown interest in leveraging tools and technology for performing better business analysis, which is something that I will speak about. Fourth is having a decent understanding of domains that you work. So this is one topic I keep getting a lot of question. Should a business analyst have great domain knowledge? Good, if you have, no harm. But usually sometimes in many services companies or consulting companies, you may be shifted around domains. So you may not stick to a particular domain for a very long time, but at the same time, we would be expected to get some understanding of the domain quickly. So that is something which is expected of a business analyst. Like, just to give you my own personal example, I have worked with retail company, I have worked with a bank, I have worked with a laptop manufacturer, I have worked with a couple of BPO organizations. So I've worked with so many variety of companies in last 25 years. And, and I was pretty comfortable in working with most of these companies, including I worked with a company which was quite scientific in nature. So we used to have postdoctorals in physics, because we were working on colors and paint, which has a lot of subjects coming from the optics. So the world of light and color. So we used to have very complex mathematical formulas built into our system. And the fifth thing is always to get recognized for yourself on your skills and get branded, which is again something quite important. And we have seen many of our students, most of our students, I would say, have got significant benefit because they took that time to get themselves recognized. So they got certified. Many of them have become chapter leaders and they are contributing quite a lot to the world of business analysis, which is an amazing thing for me as a trainer. I have been teaching this subject for more than 10 years now. So I've been teaching, and I probably would have touched more than 10,000 students, both through our regular training and through our digital products as well. Okay, so how do we go about this whole journey? So let's build an action plan for ourselves. And using that action plan, we can definitely become better BA in 6 months to 1 year time, maybe even quicker if you are smart enough. Okay. So I always start with a phase called assessment. It's always important to assess where are you at this point in time. Okay. Because without an assessment, you may be perceiving yourself to be very good, but you may be not. Or you may be perceiving yourself not to be so good, but you could actually be a good business analyst. So first we will start with an assessment. So I'm going to show you a very simple free assessment tool which you can use to assess your skills in multiple areas. Then we come to, after the assessment, we get a result. And based on that result, we create a plan for ourselves saying, okay, I am not so good in these areas. And how do I make myself better in these areas? And third thing is, of course, to re-execute the plan that you have. Just having a plan is not very useful. A plan is always a useful thing, but not following up on the plan is useless. So obviously, we need to execute on the plan, and maybe another 6 months time we again reassess so that we know, okay, I have moved from here to here. Say for example, personally, I had some goals in my life, so I always wanted to be a world record holder. Okay, so that was something like a very personal goal for me. Can I be a world record holder? And you may be glad to know that I do hold two world records. Okay, it might appear that in the beginning, holding a world record is something very difficult. It does take time, but you can become world record holder if you pursue the path. Okay, so let me first show you the very simple app that we have, completely free, and you can come here. I'm going to get into the app and show you how simple it is to do your competency assessment. Um, so I have logged in already, so you can see here. You just come here and say assess now. And as you come inside the platform, there are two assessment frameworks that we have built right now. We plan to build more. So one we have created for requirements analysts, because we see two types of analysts in our space. Well, there are many, but these two are the major ones that we see today. One, people who do project requirements analysis. Some of you may be doing it already. Or you could also be playing the role of a data analyst. So who basically understands business data process and all. So you can do any one of them, and you can do both of them. Okay. I'm just going to give you the link here. It's called competencypro.app. So we are also going to build another assessment framework based on the Babok guide. So some of you might have heard Babok guide. So we're going to create some more assessment frameworks based on this, like agile analysis, product ownership. We're going to create more assessment frameworks. It takes a little bit time for us to build those assessment frameworks, but we are going to make it, and it's going to be free for you. So don't worry. And what you do is you can start with something like, at this time, where do I start? So you actually have a 10-point scale that you should refer. Like it starts with something like being unaware of a subject or a topic that is mentioned, going to be considered as an industry expert. So it's a long range. So some of you might be at level 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do that. Okay, so maybe for this time, for an example purpose, I'm just going to put 3, and then I can move ahead, and then it will take me to the next question. The questions are very simple. There is no right and wrong. It's just asking you how confident you feel about this particular topic. And once you have that data collected, it gets captured and it's kept in the database. It's giving some trouble for me. Maybe I'll just go back to home and then come back to the dashboard. It's giving, I think maybe they have done something. This data is stored permanently. So you can look back at your data after 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, till the time we survive as a company, this data is going to be available to you. And you can also download the data as a report and keep with you. So we start with the assessment framework, as I said. And the request is to be honest, don't overrate yourself just to get a better grade. Nobody is going to take a look at your assessment score other than you yourself. Okay, so be clear. There is nobody looking at your score other than yourself. Okay, so obviously, if you are scoring below 60%, it's something means you really need to put in some effort. 60 to 80, you are doing reasonably okay. If you're doing above 90, then we would consider you to be a champion, and maybe we should involve you in writing a new standard or new guidebook. So you are in that category when you cross 90. Okay. Now I will come to certain knowledge specific thing. Like as I said, you need to understand the core BA process very well. And for that, you have two amazing books that comes from IIBA. This is a paid product, so maybe you don't want to buy it this time. But this second link, which is there here, I will show you this link as well, and I'll give you this link in the chat message as well. So you can actually go here and click on the link. What happened? Why? Otherwise, you just go ahead and put in Google search saying IIBA core standard. That much you put. Okay. Maybe it's giving some wrong message here. So this is the search term that you use, and it will give you the link to the core standard. It's free to download, free to read. And this is a good starting point for anybody who is looking at becoming conversant with BA core process. So as I showed here, it's free. You can come here and download. And this document describes actually 30 key tasks that IIBA expects. So IIBA is an organization which is into business analysis, content development, training, and certification. We are an affiliate of IIBA. So you can see here, it kind of starts with very basics. What is business analysis? Who is an analyst? It divides our work into 6 knowledge areas. And for each knowledge area, it actually describes different tasks. So it's a very good, simple document for you to get a good idea about what is business analysis and how to perform business analysis. Okay. It also has an amazing digital library. So if you wish to become a member, you get access to a lot of digital content as well. And we also at our side provide a lot of templates for BAs who want to kind of pursue and understand the templates, or an organization which wants to have good templates but doesn't have time to build them. They can buy those templates from us as well. Then there are 2 books I have recommended here, which is on the behavioral skills. Okay. As I said before, behavioral skills do play a very important role in our career progress, especially those of you who are already senior business analysts. I trust you must be feeling that unless you hone your managerial skills, leadership skills, you're not going to be a very effective leader. It's not that junior business analysts don't need behavioral skills, but the demand on senior business analysts is a lot more on the behavioral skills. That's the case for every role that you see. Well, like if you are in the sales organization, you are in project management, product development, wherever you are, you will need higher level of competency in behavioral skills. So I've given you two good resources for that. But this is something available only when you are a member of IIBA. Now we come to some tools that all of you wanted to see. So one of the tools that I have been using for a very long time is the BPM process modeler. So let me see if I can pull up the modeler and show you how simple it is for you to develop business process models using this process modeler. And I have used MSVCO as well for a very long time, but this tool beats MSVCO hands down. Okay. Secondly, this is free. You can go ahead and look for this tool and install it on your own system. Only thing, your company should allow you to use a free tool, but other than that, it's just available, and it's a pretty amazing tool for all of us. So I'm just going to draw a business process model in less than 3 minutes for anything that you would like to build a process model. Say, for example, we are looking at this webinar. No? So obviously, we have a process to launch a webinar. So this is your pool, which is your process pool. And suppose I'm assuming that there are 3 people involved in conducting this webinar. So I will put 3 roles here, role 1, role 2, and role 3. Okay, so now you have 3 roles. You start with the first task. Okay, then suppose this is our sales head who is planning for the webinars. Okay, so we do have an annual plan for our webinars. Plan for webinars. The fonts may be a little smaller for you. Don't worry, you can try it at your end. So once the plan is done, we have a marketing team. So this is our digital marketing team. So we have a marketing manager who is promoting this webinar. Okay. So some of you might have got these emails from us. So this team is conducting that activity. So they're promoting the webinar. And then finally, here I am, the presenter, who is conducting the webinar. Okay. And then we can say, we end the process here. This is at this level looks very simple, absolutely nothing to worry. But if you think of one of these tasks, this itself has so many subtasks. Say, for example, when we look at promoting webinar, is it just a 5-minute work? Not at all. So they actually have a sub process behind it, which is what I'm going to draw for you at the second level. So come here and you create a sub process here. So this is something where it starts differing from MSVCO. MSVCO does not give you this kind of capability. So again, in the sub process, what we do, we say, okay, so first we create assets. And then we get these assets reviewed, because you would have seen a lot of assets, the posters, those kind of things, messaging, email. Okay, then these are review assets. And then we have share assets. Okay, and then maybe we'll think that it's ending here. Okay, so even when we create assets, this itself can be multiple assets. So asset is not just one thing. It's a poster, it's an email, it's a write-up, okay? And we create multiple images for multiple platforms. So now I can even drill further down by just clicking on this task and saying transform to sub-process. And here again, I can go to the level 3 of the process and so how level 3 activities are done. So maybe I will say asset for LinkedIn, create asset for LinkedIn, whatever platforms you're using. You're creating assets for Facebook, Twitter, whatnot. And then you're creating different types of assets as well, email, poster, and all that. So now you can see how simple is this tool, and it is completely free. Okay. So I showed you one tool which I have been using for a very long time. And the second best part about the tool is you can export this entire thing to a Word document. So go to Publish, go to Word, and say Quick Publish. That's a diagram 1, diagram 2, diagram 3. I'm just not doing the whole perfect thing because that takes time. So I'm just going to do it very simple. And I'm just going to say Publish. Let me see if it works. So I'm going to put it in portrait mode and see, save. So this will save you tons of time in creating good process models. And you look at the way the model has created document for you. Okay. And you can add extra information about the model, whatever you want to do. Done. Okay. So you can do it on the fly when you are discussing with your stakeholders. So this is one tool which is not so well known in the market. I would not say it's very popular, but it's very powerful, very useful. Then I have heard a lot of people using a tool called Pencil, which is a UI wireframing tool. You also can use Lucid Chart, which is again a competitor to MS Visio. It has plenty of diagramming tools available to you. But I think it's only for a trial period of 30 days. Vizazi BPM is free forever. You keep it and you will use it as long as you like. Then the remaining tools, which has become quite popular. In fact, Jira, I could actually put it as a free tool. And you do have a free version of Jira, which you can use. The reason why I'm mentioning Jira here is I see a lot of companies today are using Jira as their primary product backlog management tool, which is very, very popular in today's agile world. So people are writing user stories, acceptance criteria, and you can use Jira for that. And we also give you access to Jira and Balsamic as part of our inner circle product. I will come to you, Setu, don't worry. Okay, so Jira and Balsamic is something that you can try. Jira is also available free for a trial purpose. So you go to atlassian.com. I trust I got it right. Okay, so somewhere here, resources, Atlassian purchasing and licensing. Okay, let's see. Let's try better free Jira account. Okay. There are other products also which are come up, but I think it's better that we learn Jira because clients are looking for that. No, so I'll select this. Okay, because these two usually go quite well, Jira and Confluence, and you can see here, you can have 10 users. You have 2 GB of storage. It's free, no credit card needed. Pretty nice, no? So let's go ahead and create an account. Maybe this is one of our workshop accounts. So let me try this and continue. And you can continue here. Oh, okay. let me use Google for that purpose, because that way it will not ask me to have another username password. This is for our trainers, okay? So I'll say adaptive -ln, just to give a name. So you can give any name that you like, okay? And then you'll actually get access to a free version of Jira. So this is something that I would request all of you to do, because learning Jira is going to be quite helpful. So for example, I will say I'm part of software development. I am a project manager just for, okay, something I'll say, okay, then I'll just, you can actually do all things properly. Do it. I don't have time, so I'm just going to show you this. So Jira is essentially started as a bug tracking tool, but now it has become a good requirements management, backlog management, task management tool. Confluence is essentially a documentation system, and a lot of companies use both of these products. And using Confluence, you can write quite good Word version of documents. Okay. I will come to your question, Monica. I've got some questions on the board. I will show you, don't worry. So I know Scrum a little bit, so I will say Scrum. And you can see here, and I'll say test project. And I can create a project, and then you can play around with Jira. So now I showed you the second tool, which is completely free and very, very powerful as well. So I'm just going to skip all these things, because now you can see here timeline, backlog, board, so many things you can try. And maybe you start with this one. I'm not familiar with Jira, so don't worry. So it will guide you and will tell you create a backlog, do things and all. Okay. So this is the second tool that I spoke to you, which is again free, and you don't have to worry so much about cost. Okay, then MS Visio, you do have a trial version as well. And it's always good to learn MS Visio as well, because a lot of companies still use Visio because it's kind of Microsoft family, so they love Microsoft. So Visio continues to have still a good brand record. Okay. One more tool I think I should mention here. Somewhere here I have mentioned. No, I think how come I missed it? Okay. So maybe one more tool that I should mention here is ChatGPT, which I believe many of you may have already played around with. But ChatGPT can be a very, very powerful tool for business analysts. So I'm going to show you some requirements that I developed using ChatGPT. Let me see if I get that requirements document for you. Just give me a second. I'm missing it somewhere here, but we have been using ChatGPT for a lot of activities, and I could actually, let me see if by chance I am able to generative AI. See. So this is something that we were trying to. Okay, look at this. This is a good example. I started giving certain prompts to ChatGPT, saying, okay, give me some specification for a learning management system, because we work in that space. And then it started giving me functional requirements. It started giving me non-functional requirements, compliance requirements, and all. And then it did some categorization as well. Then I asked the second question saying, okay, can you take the first response and write 10 important stories for the first requirement? It started writing the stories for me. So I got the stories written down from ChatGPT. Okay. Then I asked it to create a simple prototype. It created some login screen prototype. Wasn't very good. And I trust there are better tools now available to build prototypes for you as well. Then I asked it to write some user stories. Okay, I asked it to create a data model. These are all things that we do as BAs, no? So it created some data model. So it's a good starting point. I would say it's not a finishing point. It still requires some refinement, but I'm quite sure you will get about 50% done at 5% time. Still a huge saving. So you can get up to 50% good product by spending only 5% of your time, as long as you follow these prompts. I can share this document with you as well, and you can use this as a reference and learn these prompts better. So as long as you learn these prompts, that's what people call it as prompt engineering, asking right kind of questions so that the system will start giving you good, valuable content. So this is one more tool which I think all BAs should learn. And I trust you guys are already doing it. Okay. Then, as we understand as business analysts, there are a lot of changes are happening in the marketplace. I will share this presentation, don't worry. There's a whole lot of activities happening on the social media. Companies are very active, and as BAs, we need to understand how social media can impact us as a business. We have been a avid user of LinkedIn and not other platforms, but I think we should look at Twitter, we should look at Facebook. There are so many social platforms already available. Mobile is giving us a lot more capabilities today. It gives us location ability. It makes us understand where is our customer currently. So that's something, a lot of use cases can be created. Analytics is again way more powerful today. Just the kind of insights that you can get today by even using free analytics tools. You don't have to have paid tools, like we use Google Analytics quite a lot. So I can show you some data here. And I believe if your company is not using this, ask them to look at this tool. It's free, no cost, and the company can benefit significantly. So as you can see here, we do have a very high spike on this date, which means something must have happened on that day. No, it's not that such a performance is expected. We do see some spikes. So we have to investigate why such spikes happen. Okay. And how can we make this spikes happen more often? No? Because the more spikes you see, the more business you get. So, and this tool is again free. Okay. And I believe the example that I gave you, ChatGPT, is coming from the artificial intelligence world. And there are many things happening in the AI world in terms of document writing, recording, transcription. Okay. So all these activities, you can do it using AI. So you don't have to really type your own minutes of meeting. Tools are available for you, and they are free as well. So some of them could be free. I believe Google Meets, I am not very sure if it already has a transcription tool, but there are some meeting softwares which come with a transcription tool. I believe Google will make it very soon. IoT, IoT is again one more space if you are looking at interfacing with production systems, agricultural systems. So many things can happen because of IoT. Just I put one more image. Okay, whatever I like. And I'm just trying to show you some of the examples that we are using as a company. We are using translation services. So we created some of our products in French, and that used AI translation. We use speech to text, text to speech. I love text to speech because I don't have to type. So we have been using, and there are many other systems which you can use. Not everything would be applicable for your company, but whatever is possible, you can think of leveraging AI. Okay, some of you asked me about some domain resources. One of the finest and easiest and zero cost domain resource you'll get is something called APQC PCF. Okay, so just go to Google and search for APQC PCF and you'll get these frameworks. It's free and you can download them as well. So I do have one in my email address. So I just type APQC PCF. Okay. So this is a very good starting point for any new business analyst, even some of you senior business analysts, to understand what happens in every function, every organization in your enterprise. Okay, so this is a
Example,
great document.
sorry to interrupt you here, but if I want to check like how this website will help me for knowing, like if I want to know about insurance
Oh,
domain,
okay. You
will
can,
this help me?
you can, you can. Yes, of course. Just type
So
APQCPCF insurance.
so like how I'm gonna use it?
Okay. So what it does, it gives you all the tasks that happen in an insurance company.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Hmm.
this is what it does. So it lists about, as I showed here, no, it lists about 1,000 tasks that happen inside an organization. So this gives you an amazing overview. And as long as you start understanding the terms that they're using here, I'm not from insurance domain, so I really don't know what is divestiture options. So if you start understanding these tasks, you will become fairly good in the domain knowledge.
Like
So
how would
just
I read more about it? These are just like in an index kind of a like
correct,
table of
true.
content, but how would I
Yeah.
read more about these?
Then you have to go to Google. From this, you have to go to Google and look for what is this divestiture, because I don't
Hmm.
understand divestiture. So you have to go and search for that.
And
Some of the
can you
tasks you'll understand.
hmm one more thing, like let's say the project is going on since 30 years and you have joined
Hmm,
now. So how would you
hmm.
accumulate that, like understand all that knowledge in that project, which is like people are working since 30 years on that. So how can we quickly understand it as we are starting fresh this now? We have got like it's our time now that we are into this project. So how we understand all the terms and everything,
Um,
even this is
no,
producing.
ask for your product owner. They may have some introduction document. Usually, every project that is running for so long, they would have created some training material. Look through that. No, if
No,
they haven't created any training
we
material,
have
that's a
no, we have the training material, but like just want to have an idea from you how to go through all that training material which they are maintaining since such a long time, and how shall we understand that insurance domain in a
ask one of
less
your
time?
okay, ask one of your old project team members. They will help you.
Mhm.
What to read, what not to read.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's the best way to learn. Always consult an expert, no, in that subject. Okay, back to our topic. Again, as I said, there are a lot of resources in IIBA Digital Library as well. So if you become an IIBA member, you get access to that as well. This is something which is very interesting for people who are working in the cyber security domain, or their application has very high expectations on security front. In that case, this framework is quite helpful. Okay, and as I said before, as a BA, it always makes sense to get branded. And trust me, a branded product gets anywhere between 30% to 300% premium. So if you become a branded business analyst, you can also ask for such a premium. And we have seen our students getting it. It's nothing unbelievable or anything like that. Okay, so I told you about the assessment. I gave you certain resources. I also said, make a plan. What is it that I should study in the next 3 months? Then come back and again reassess yourself. So we are going to create a different framework for this year, which is much more practical and correct. So maybe we probably would change the framework every year because the world of IT is changing so quickly, it makes sense for us to revise the framework every year. So you will have a chance to reassess yourself every year. So some of the links that I used, I have put it here. So you can take a look. Don't worry. I'll anyway share the presentation with you. Okay, so now what I am going to do, some of you have asked me some questions. So let me try answering them here. 1 second, I don't get a better view. Okay, so I've given you the assessment. Setu is saying she's already a certified BA from us. Okay, Setu, I'll ask one of my team members to reach out to you because you are already a student. They would assist you with some of the next steps that you can take. Okay. Monica has a question. How do I build domain experience? I did have a presentation done with IIBA on domain skills. I will try to locate that presentation and the video recording of that, and I will send you. I already gave you a little bit of idea about the PCF. The other thing that I would always suggest you to look for handbooks on the domain. So say, for example, if you're very keen to learn about insurance, I'm just giving an example, or it could be banking or anything. So just look for this document, Handbook of Banking. Okay, just do this simple Google search and you would find a book. Trust a good publisher because they would have done a good job. So go ahead and take a look at this one. And you can see here, it's about £55, not so expensive. And you can actually go ahead and buy this book. And when you read through this publication, you would be very, very comfortable about the domain. And we are also trying to tie up with a company. They're very strong in financial domain. And hopefully if that tie-up comes, we should be able to offer a lot more domain training. But right now we don't do domain training, just to give you, because there are so many domains, it's hard to develop expertise on all of that. So we have refrained from getting into a particular domain, but maybe in 2025, we may have one or two domains coming our way, maybe one in finance, one in healthcare, but not more than two domains, at least for next year, because it requires a lot of effort on our side as well. Okay, then, okay. Naeem has a good question saying, would you recommend volunteering to help local businesses? Of course. It's always a good idea. You're doing two things. One, you're gaining experience for yourself. You're also doing a good work. So good karma will come back to you. Don't worry. Okay. John Rowe has a good question saying, how long does ECBA classes take? For us, it's 2 weeks. It's not very long. But we don't recommend you to take the test immediately, maybe another 4 weeks time. So all total, we are looking at about 6 weeks time frame to get somebody ECBA certified. Technical tools, in the sense, somebody asked technical tools. What are technical tools? I'm not very sure, because I know about business analyst tools. I am not a technical person. Maybe some people use SQL, having some idea about SQL-based tools.
Power BI, The data analytics tools.
Okay. Those are data analytics tools. Okay. Yeah. That's where, Power BI can be a good tool to learn. SQL remains
Tableau.
evergreen. Tableau is again another tool. And I believe both have free versions as well.
Power
So
BI
you can actually,
desktop has.
yeah. So the Power BI desktop has, Tableau also has a public version. Try them as well. Hmm. I've done ECBA, planning to do CWAP. Okay. Sika, I think it's better we take a deep look at your resume. I don't want to tell somebody yes or no in this webinar. Cynthia asked, the ECBA classes take 6 weeks. If you take the training, it's usually you can do it in 6 weeks. If you're doing it yourself, it might take 8 to 10 weeks, maybe 3-4 weeks more. Okay, good. So we are almost on the verge of closing the webinar. Mahesh has one question. What is the current prospect of BA in IT? A lot of BAs work in IT, but you can also be a BA in business. I also hear a lot of BAs working in the other areas of BA. See, technology will keep coming. So please don't think technological progress is going to stop. We have to keep pace with technologies, and people who keep pace with technologies, they learn new technologies, they use new technologies, always become much more in demand compared to people who refuse to learn new technologies. Setu has a question, which domain specific BA? Finance is one good thing. Banking is, and again, something that a lot of BAs work in banking sector. Okay, one of you asked how to reach me through email. My email ID is very simple. It's ln@adaptiveus.com. So you can send me an email, but do give me a couple of days time to respond, because there are too many mails come from our students, prospects, customers. So sometimes it's a little hard for me to respond quickly, but I'll try to respond in a couple of days time. Okay.
Can we record the hour of this webinar towards our online learning for recertification of CBAB?
You can.
Thank you.
So if you are looking for a CDU certificate, please make a request. One of our team members will provide you the CDU certificate.
Thank you.
Good. So thank you all again for joining us today. Nice meeting so many of you, and do stay in touch. My LinkedIn profile has some issue, so I'm not asking you to connect to me on LinkedIn immediately. I'm hoping the issue will get resolved in next 3-4 days time. And if any one of you want to get in touch, you anyway have my email address. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
Yep.
so
Bye-bye.
much to you as well. Bye.
Bye-bye.